Hi everyone, I am Becky from My Creative Life and I would like to welcome you guys today. Thanks for stopping in and checking out my video, my process video for this art journal layout. Now I am working in a small Dylusions journal today. I wanted to do something creative but just stuck to this small size. I did not have a lot of time today when I created this. So here I'm adding some gesso, some clear gesso onto my pages, and I am using that Prima silicone brush, which I really love. First of all, you get a very thin layer of whatever you're spreading with that brush. And being silicone, it's so easy to clean up. I use this instead of the brushes with bristles on there that I have to go and wash afterwards. And I believe the gesso will actually ruin your brushes that have bristles on it. So I switched over to this Prima brush and I love it. So back to the layout. I am going to be using these crayons here, and these are from Jane Davenport. Now I will go ahead and list all of the items I used today down in my description box. And of course, if you have any questions at all, leave me those questions in the comments or feel free to email me at my email, which will be in the description box. So I pulled out 3 colors, including the gray. I decided not to use that one and just stuck with the pinks. And one of those pinks actually is a bit more red than pink. Now, I applied the gesso just so that the blending will go easier, but I pressed a little bit too hard when I added those scribbles to my background. So you'll see I do have some of those lines left behind. And that's just a tip there. If you're using any type of crayons, distress crayons, Vicky Bouton, even gelatos, go really lightly on your background so you don't end up with these scribble marks like I have here. Now I'm adding a little bit of water to help them blend a little better because the moist baby wipes that I'm using right now is not really that moist anymore. It's been sitting in my craft room for way too long and started drying up. Now, it looks really ugly right now, and that's okay. If you are an art journaler, you know we go through this ugly stages of our layouts. If you are brand new, don't let this scare you. It will get what I think is beautiful in just a little bit. Now, to do that, I am just gonna add and add and add more and more to my layout, but I am adding slowly and carefully. It's a lot easier to add more than to take off anything. Now I have my background there, and you can see even with the scribble marks, I love how it turned out. I'm actually okay with messy backgrounds when it comes to art journaling. I love the messiness of it. I'm just having a lot of fun right here, just playing around with my supplies and trying them out. Now I am very impatient. I do not love coloring, so I decided to print my person, my focal point here, on a piece of pattern paper, hoping that the pattern behind is subtle, but it's still good enough that it will make this person look pretty good on my background, but I do not like how it looked when I placed her on there. And here I'm just fussy cutting out some of the insides of her arms, and that is the Tim Holtz glass mat that I have behind there, which is really great for directly cutting on there. So once I add that to my background, like I said, I knew it needed some color. So I decided to grab what I had close by, and you'll see I'll grab a gold Signal gel pen, and I'll color in her pants in gold. And I'm not even really careful. I'm just scribbling, coloring away. This is not going to be perfect, but like I said, I love the messy look of it, and I'm not perfect with coloring at all. I'm not really great at it, but I'm just having fun here. So once I'm done with her pants, I use some more of those crayons on the right and add a bit of color to the top part of her clothing and body. And I am not very particular with which colors I used either. I just didn't want it to clash too much with my background. So here I'm adding in some of that red that I also used on the background, and I'm going to use the baby wipes to spread it around. And once I have her body and her clothing all colored up, I needed a head. I did not want to use the head that came with this stamp set. So I went into my Dylusions die cut pack. Now, if you're not into coloring or stamping, fussy cutting out, there are so many pre-stamped and colored images now with Dylusions or Dina Wakley. There's so many items out there. You can just go ahead and smack them on the page. Just add them on there, add some adhesive, and you have your focal point. But like I said, I'm having fun here, so I'm just messily coloring away. Now, before I add the head, I guess I went ahead and add some stencil. Now, this is a stencil I had on my desk. It's from my fall stash, and I cannot remember the name of the stencil. There are a bunch of leaves on there. And I'm using this orangey Distress Oxide ink pad. I cannot remember the color, but I'll add that down below. And I'm just adding some of the stenciling on the right page and a little bit on the left page as well, not to cover the entire page. You can see there I'm just adding some to the top of the left side, and I added some on the bottom part as well. Now my girl is gonna go on the left page. So I covered a lot of the right page. That way it will be a nice background once I added in my title. Now look what happens once I add the black border around my pages. It just made the center part pop, those colors pop, and it came alive to me. I love what that did once I added that border. Later on, you'll see I will darken that up and it looks even better. Now, once I added that dark border, and that is black soot I'm using, and I went really lightly with it all the way around, as you can see there. I am adding in that orangey color once again. That's the same color I used for the stenciling, and I added it as an inner border right inside of the black border. So here I have my girl all ready to go, and at first I put her on the right side, but she's going to end up on the left page. Now she was not standing out against that background, so I'm going to go ahead and ink her up with the black soot. And I am not being careful at all. It's really messy, but I just love how it looks. All the distressing it gave to the focal point there. Now I am gonna ink also the insides of her arms and legs where I cut out from before. And now she stands out against that background. So I went into my die cut pack, and these here I purchased these die cuts. You can go ahead and color them in. And of course, you can leave them just as black and white on your layout, but I'm going to color in the head. Now I'm going to cut off the head from this person. I'll save the person, the body part, I mean, and use it on another layout. But here I fussy cut out her head, and I'm just adding just colors that I think will go okay on her face, a little bit on her cheeks. And then I'm going to ink her as well with the black soot. And I'm going to put that aside because next up, I believe I'm going to add some stenciling. And I'm using one of the stencils from the Dyalog collection. Dyalog collection from Dylusions. And I'm going to add a border, I think, to the top left, to the top right of the page. And the bottom left. So here's where I inked up her head. Now you can see that I did not stick it down here because I know myself. I know I'm going to change my mind until I'm perfectly sure that's where it's going to go. I'm not going to adhere her yet. And I do change my mind. I ended up putting her on the left side. So right now I'm adding in this border using this stencil, which I love, this border stencil. I think it's called Frames. There's a bunch. There's two pieces. And I actually cut it. There was one whole sheet, and I cut it in half. So now I have two pieces of stencils on each part. And I love this border here. I did not put it all the way around, just part of the way. And once I add that on there, I am going to darken up the edge. And it just made a whole lot of difference once I did that. all of those colors just brightened up, the orange, the pinks. It just brightened up. Even the border just stand out a lot more once I darkened up the edge. Now here's where I put her over on the left, and I'm gonna add my title. Not a title. I'm gonna add this this phrase. I cannot remember what it says, and it's way too small for me to see right now, but it is one of those sticker phrases from the back chat sticker sheets. It's a little snarky. I used a snarky phrase on my last layout that I did, and I think it's growing on me. I got all of these recently. I love them, but I said in my last video, I have such a hard time using snarky phrases because I'm not very snarky in real life. At least I don't think I am. But I love these phrases. I think they're just so funny. So using the one on the last layout, I felt it was a little easier using this one today. So I hope to get a lot of them used up coming up soon. So I added that one there on the right page. It's pretty long, so it took up the entire page. And I wanted her arm to stick out on the edge, and I am going to clip off the part of it that sticks off the edge there. Now, before I add her on there, I added some silver thread. I just bunched up the thread. I adhered her using some liquid adhesive. So I went ahead and added the silver thread all bundled and bunched up under her. And once I give you guys a close-up look coming up soon, you'll get a better look at how it turned out with that thread back there. Now, seeing that I have the thread on the left side, I wanted to add some on the right side. So there you can see I'm lifting up my stickers. I'm going to add a little bit down to the bottom right corner. And then I'll go and add some to the top part of the word phrase on the left. Just a tiny bit to the top, not as much. And I just love how that looked. That brought in a little bit of texture, and it's not something I use a lot of on original layouts. Now I'm adding in some splatters using silver acrylic ink. And that I had to shake it up quite a bit. I have not used that in so long. And I'm just blotting off all the excess. Otherwise, I would have been sitting there waiting for those big globs of silver ink to dry. So I just blotted it off, and that's perfectly fine with me. Here, I'm just adding in some really messy lines to the top and bottom of those word phrase stickers. And I believe that's it. That's all I do to this layout. I could have done more, I suppose, but I wanted to keep it simple. And I feel like the girl is all the way to the left and there's a space there. I feel like something might be missing. Let me know what you think, if I should add a little something there or not. But for now, that's how it turned out. And I love how it looks. So here we have my really messy Dylusions layout. I hope you guys enjoyed the process. If you did, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and also be sure to give me a thumbs up before you leave. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button today. So thanks for watching today, and I hope you come back and join me for another layout very soon. Until then, bye.